The NBA hides a lot of information, including referees who rig games and players who go out of their way to win. These are the 20 facts about the NBA that you probably didn't know. You had no clue that NBA mascots make more money than physicians for number 20, right? Benny the Bull makes $400,000. Rocky, the mountain lion, earns $625,000, while Rocky the Hawk makes $500,000 a year. Dang, these mascots are rich. That's crazy. So is number 19. Because you probably didn't know, the NBA arenas could turn into monster truck derbies, and it only takes 90 minutes. So, if you stay a little bit after an NBA game, you can catch moments like this. Dang, these monster trucks are dangerous. And speaking of monsters, we have to talk about number 18, because we bet you didn't know about the referee that's banned from the NBA. This is Tim Donahue. In the early 2000s, he was one of the most respected refs in the entire league, but behind the scenes, Tim had a dark secret. Yeah, this man had a gambling problem, and not only was he illegally betting on his own games, but he was also selling insider information to his friends, tipping them off on fouls. He'd be calling that night, making up to $5,000 for everybody who helped him win. While Tim thought he was running a genius scheme, what he didn't know was that his gambling advice was ending up in the hands of some dangerous people. The mafia wanted Tim's help at any cost. Yeah, Tim was in deep with the Sharks, and eventually the man was swallowed whole in 2007 after a series of FBI wiretaps. They caught wind of Tim's scheming, so just a month later, he officially pled guilty to 2 felony gambling charges, leading to 15 months in federal prison. Dang, I know refs could be that twisted, but we didn't know number 17, the fact that the tallest and shortest players in NBA history were teammates. Yeah, in the 80s, Washington Bullets wanted to build the most unique team in the league, so they drafted 7'7" Manute Bol and 5'3" Muggsy Bogues, and together they looked ridiculous. Dang, these two were built differently, but there's one player that was really built differently, because for number 16, there's an NBA player that's missing a finger. This is Gerald Green, and when Gerald was just 11 years old, he lost his finger in a horrific accident. But despite being short-handed, he went on to become a star, playing 12 seasons in the NBA, earning over $20 million, even winning the 2007 dunk contest. Someone needs to give this guy a high 4 and give the dude some money too, because for number 15, we doubt you knew that NBA players got paid less than truck drivers. Yeah, see, back in the 70s, the average NBA salary was just $35,000 a year. That's $5,000 less than what truck drivers made. And it didn't matter how good the player was either, because Wilt Chamberlain was one of the greatest of all time and made just $1.5 million in his entire career. That's how much Steph Curry makes in 3 games. These dudes are cashing fat checks. And for that, they don't always get every one, because for number 14, you probably knew the players got fined for breaking rules. What you didn't know is where the money goes, because the NBA gives every last penny to charity. And since 2010, the Lakers donated over $100 million, all because of fines. So flipping off fans or swearing out reporters is really all for a good cause. But number 13 is all for flex, because we bet you had no idea NBA championship ring cost millions. See, in 2020, the Lakers won their 17th title in franchise history. They wanted to celebrate big, so they had a celebrity jeweler, Jason of Beverly Hills, craft the most expensive rings in NBA history.
All the way down the side, we had each player's number written with a mamba snake in the background in honor of Kobe Bryant.
Each of these rings cost over $150,000. So in total, the Lakers spent over $3 million. Dang, rings do look flashy though, but I can't say the same for number 12, because we bet you didn't know that the granny shot is scientifically proven to be the most effective free throw form. Yeah, this is Rick Barry, and in the 60s, he was doing the unthinkable, shooting every free throw granny style. The man looked ridiculous, but hey, it worked because Barry was shooting 90% from the free throw line. That's the same percentage as Steph Curry now, as weird as the granny shot is. That's nothing compared to number 11, because NBA players have some of the weirdest names imaginable. We mean, there's God Sham God, Wawa Jones, we've even got Fat Lever knocking down threes. But there's one player in France the NBA needs to sign because he'd have the weirdest name in NBA history.
Curling off the screen, driving baseline. Oh, you fat with a three. Yes, that is that man's name. Don't tweet at me.
Look, we're in the top 10 now, and we're taking things to a whole new level. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe to BallFlix and smash the like button. As we continue, we have to travel to Mexico. See, in 2019, Mexico City got its own NBA G League team. The Mexico City Captains, soon after the NBA started to see a huge growth in popularity in 2022, they announced plans to add new official teams to the league, with options like Las Vegas, Seattle, and most importantly, Mexico City, or whatever city gets a team. I just hope their branding is on point, because for number 9, I bet you didn't know that the NBA had some of the weirdest logos ever, like this terrifying Knicks logo, or this hideous Celtics logo. Check this out. In the 60s, this was the Lakers logo. Man, we could have had a giraffe. Ridiculous. If you want ridiculous, we've got to go to number 8, because I'm sure you didn't know that it's scientifically proven James Harden plays worse in cities with good strip clubs. Yeah, in 2019, Redditor analyzed Harden's performance in every NBA city for the past 4 seasons. And after comparing each city's average strip club rating, the results were mind-blowing. He found out that to a statistically significant degree, Harden's performance declines in cities with the best clubs, like Miami and LA. Seems like this man James got the wrong head in the game. It is unbelievable, but sometimes the nightlife can end way worse. That's why, for number 7, we don't think you knew that the league made a rule of saving players' lives. See, in 1986, NBA's next big star, Len Bias, was drafted 2nd overall by the Celtics. People were expecting the kid to dominate the league for years to come, but sadly, only 2 days later, tragedy struck.
He died of heart failure because he used cocaine. First, here's ABC's Bill Green.
From that day forward, the NBA couldn't stand to watch another young star suffer the same fate. So just a month later, they created the Rookie Transition Program, where incoming rookies are taught how to adjust to the NBA lifestyle, from drugs and alcohol classes to financial assistance courses and even media training. So these days, players are getting the support and education they need to make the best of their careers. And all this training is paying off, because in number 6, we bet you didn't know that players got paid over $1 billion to be an NBA 2K. Yeah, back in 2019, the NBA Players Association signed a 7-year deal with 2K worth an absurd $1.1 billion. That money is shared amongst the players that appear in the game, although specific numbers aren't public. It's estimated that the top NBA players can earn up to $250,000 a year just from being in 2K. These dudes get to play with themselves and get a bag doing it. That's legendary. And so is number 5, because the NBA broke a world record. See, in 2010, the NBA wanted to take their all-star game to new heights. As the saying goes, everything's bigger in Texas. So the league went down to Dallas and got to work, turning the Cowboys Stadium to an NBA arena. And this game hit it big, because by the end of the night, it was a world record for the most fans in attendance in basketball history. 108,713 people. Wow, that place was loaded. But if we're talking unstoppable, we have to mention number 4, because there's an NBA player with more rings than Bill Russell. See, this man dominated the league, winning 11 NBA championships. And for decades, this was the most rings a player had ever seen. But in 1983, everything changed as the league started giving out custom rings to NBA All-Stars. Yeah, and if you add up every ring that's been given out over the years, the player with the most rings is Kobe Bryant with 23. Now, we're going into the top 3, so we're taking what you didn't know to the extreme. First, we gotta talk about the curse of the Denver Nuggets. Back in 1975, the Nuggets were facing the Indiana Pacers in the division finals during Game 2. Indiana decided to pull out their secret weapon, Dancing Harry. Now, if you thought this was just some harmless dancing, you'd be dead wrong. Dancing Harry put a hex on the Nuggets, and it must have worked, as the Pacers won the next 2 games. So going into Game 5, the Nuggets needed some magic of their own. That's when they devised a plot to get revenge, hiring Rabota, the Wicked Witch of the West, put a curse on the Pacers. Yeah, they actually hired a witch. But in the end, I think Rabota must have cursed the wrong team, because not only did the Nuggets go on to lose that night, but they also got eliminated from the playoffs. Legend has it, Denver is still cursed to this day. But speaking of legends, for number 2, you probably didn't know that there's only one jersey number that's retired by the NBA. See, with 5 MVPs, 12 All-Star games, and 11 championships, Bill Russell dominated the game. And yet what he did off the court was even greater, because Bill was a trailblazer. He received a Federal Medal of Liberty, became the first black team captain in the NBA history. Therefore, the NBA decided to memorialize Bill by officially honoring the number 6 jersey after his untimely death in 2022. That makes this the first jersey number that's ever been retired league-wide. There really is a lot of things to know about the NBA, but what if we tell you none of this would have ever happened if it weren't for number 1? Because there is no way you knew that the NBA was almost canceled. See, back in the 70s, the NBA had a huge problem on its hands. At that time, its 2 biggest stars, Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell, both retired. College basketball has become more popular than the pros. Drug scandals are ruining players' lives and the league's reputation throughout the last decade. Issues caused the NBA's viewership to plummet. It got so bad that by 1978, they weren't even televising the finals games live, and the league was considering getting rid of multiple teams. No one was watching the NBA, but then something crazy happened.
2 guys, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, saved the NBA. And these 2 guys came along and they just kind of saved the NBA. So
Magic and Bird changed the NBA. They made basketball cool. Suddenly, fans were lining up to watch, to the point where by 1985, the league had doubled in its viewership and revenue, and the NBA has been thriving ever since. But believe it or not, NBA players are blowing so much of that money. I mean, James Harden spent $1 million in one night. And if you want to hear more, then check out the video. These are 10 things you didn't know about James Harden.